like that.
Nice.
What's it like? I was actually there in attendance in Cleveland for Coe's first career NFL touchdown, which was awesome. And,
Awesome.
It was a great game. You could hear me on camera. I was just screaming, "Say it ain't so, Coe! Say it ain't so!" Sadly, from there, the game kind of went off the rails a little. That was the last high moment of that game, but it was a great game. Overtime loss, fun time.
Yeah.
But how was that moment for you? Seeing the first, whether it was on TV, in person, wherever you were, seeing his first NFL touchdown. How was that?
Well, dude, I mean, we were at home because it was a away game. We don't travel to a lot of the away games because we can get into that later. But to watch that and to think I wished I was there live. So to have your video was so cool, and just say this is so cool. I mean, that was so cool for us. Catching it from Tom Brady, right? Like he's got the ball yet. I mean, first NFL touchdown means a lot, right? I mean, as a dad, this is so cool to see. It was fun to watch. It didn't have the outcome we wanted, but still the same. What a memory! What a memory to have, right? So,
and honestly,
cool.
those. One of the best guests ever, the Buccateers in the house. You guys hear him on Tampa radio all the time. He's one of the best in the business. My favorite personal in the business. That's why I'm elated tonight. Growing up in the Chicago area, you're used to sports radio. That's what gets me through the day. So this man does help get me through the day, I will say, with the Pat and Aaron show at work. Nothing like it. So it's incredible. It looks like we got Stunna bumbling in. I'm Tampa Tones. We are joined by lead goon tonight, host of the Pat and Aaron show of WDAE, Pat Donovan. And it sounds like Stunna is bumbling a little bit. Going to put him on mute for a second until that gets a little clear. But we're joined by Pat Donovan.
It looks like Stunna's hanging out with Cheech and Chong in a car with the windows up or something over there.
It does look like you got a little.
No, my camera's broke.
And he was trying to pull me in big time. And then I was like, hey, nothing's happened with Indianapolis yet. Like, I really want to give Indy a chance. And then also I talked to Cody Gruden, once he took over Rich McCann, still like, well, look, I was like, y'all just give me the opportunity to explore free agency, see what's going on, and then can I make it do it.
All right, everyone, you are tuned into the Buccateers of wide receiver Kalen Geiger, and we are about to have a great pod. This is the Buccateers. You're tapped in, and here we go. Howdy ho, howdy hey, how the hell is everybody? Welcome back into another great Buccateers podcast. I'm your host, Tampa Tones, alongside some great co-hosts per usual. The great Bucs by 30 in the house, the great J-Lo is back in the stomping grounds, and it's a power hour, and on power hours, we waste no time. This one's actually a little bit of an extended power hour. We're going from 4 to 5 reporters in this one, and we got the great River Wells of Bucs Gameday, a Sports Illustrated affiliate, in the house. River, how the heck you doing, brother? Thanks so much for giving us some time today, my friend.
Absolutely, I'm doing great. Good to be finally at the end of training camp, going into week 1 after this Bills game, and happy to be here, guys.
Yeah, I bet it's going crazy over there. It's kind of like your guys' Christmas Eve into Christmas in the next coming weeks as the season goes from preseason to regular season. So great times ahead, my friend. Zach, how you doing, brother?
Doing well.
Yeah, and J-Lo, of course, welcome in.
Thank you, sir. Looking forward to it. It's going to be a fun night, fellas.
Yeah, River, we're going to sadly start with the unfortunate McMillan news. Obviously, yep. Jalen McMillan. If you were watching the game on Saturday, which Zach was actually there, but me and my pops were watching together, is welcome in Trisha. We love our lady listeners. Trisha's in the house. Christopher's in the house. B-Shuck's in the house. Plus is in the house. Bud Cannibalist, we're off to a rock and roll start. But River, McMillan. Looks like he's going to be out at least a couple of months now. It's rumored to be maybe a return around week 9, according to Rick Stroud of the Tampa Bay Times. So thoughts on how this Buccaneers team might operate its wide receiver room? If I had to guess at this point, just say we don't bring in anybody from the outside, I could see a wide receiver room shaping up like Mike Evans, Igbuka, obviously. You keep Shep around with his familiarity. I think Ryan Miller at this point makes the roster given how he's played and his durability last year. Let's remember he was the only healthy wide receiver the entirety of last season for the Bucs. And then that really gives two spots left between Trey Palmer, between Garrett Green's been playing good. You get Rakim Jarrett, you get Tez Johnson, you get a plethora of other guys. I'd probably give the edge, although I don't think he had a great year, and I'd say send his bags back, and I'd say maybe Trey Palmer, and then that really leaves that last spot up for grabs between Green, Tez Johnson, and some other young cats. But what say you, River, after the McMillan injury? How will the Bucs handle this?
Yeah, it's unfortunate because the feeling right now is that Chris Godwin probably won't be ready for the first 2 games of the season. And at that point, you were going to have a lineup of Mike Evans on the outside, and probably Emeka Egbuka playing that Chris Godwin type spot, and then Jay McMillan being your wide receiver 3. Now he can't be your wide receiver 3 because he'll be out for possibly after the bye week. So you're going to have somebody else play that role until Chris Godwin comes back, and then you can kind of push Emeka Egbuka outside. Make him your wide receiver 3, and then you're much more set there. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I do agree. I don't think they're going to bring in another wide receiver at this stage. But you're going to have Emeka Egbuka there, who has been turning heads all across camp in preseason. Had a great touchdown catch against Pittsburgh there. Seems to always be in the right place. Great route runner, finds space well, so he'll fit right in. Mike Evans, obviously. And then, yeah, you've got guys like Sterling Shepard. You've got guys. I think Tez Johnson's going to make the roster. You mentioned that last spot. I think as a returner, he'll have some value there. And now, especially with McMillan out, there might be a few packages that he might be able to find a role in, kind of in this offense. And yeah, I think Ryan Miller and Trey Palmer will be interesting to see kind of where they go on that respect. Palmer obviously hasn't been incredibly impressive in the last few years, but he knows the system well. He played in it last year. He's been in it. And they do like some of the physical stuff that he can do. So you just got to kind of improve on, separation, being able to run those go routes and being kind of a proper X. So he's got that value, and you might see him in there. They can do a lot of different things, in the practice squad. Sterling Shepard started the year in the practice squad last year and then was called up. They might do something similar, but with McMillan out and on IR, you could probably put him on the main roster. So a lot of things to think about, a lot of special teams value to think about. But it is a little unfortunate because now you kind of got to figure out who's going to be that wide receiver 3 with McMillan out and with Godwin out for the first few games. What's that going to look like, essentially? And there's a few options that can go there. It'll be interesting to see which one they do.
Yeah, so to build on that, what do you think a realistic time frame is for Godwin to return? I mean, we haven't even seen him run yet at practice.
Yeah, it's tough. No one really knows for sure, and they're kind of being a little, they're keeping a little bit close to the vest. Initially, we heard that their timeline was they were hoping he'd be ready for week 1, but that doesn't look like that's going to be the case. If you put him on PUP, or you keep him on PUP, he's on active PUP right now, he would have to miss at least the first 4 games of the season, and then he could potentially make a return week 5 against the Seattle Seahawks. If they were to keep Tristan Wirfs on PUP, that would also be the same time frame. So that would at least be a start for Chris Godwin potentially. And depending on how his leg feels or where he's at in his rehab, it could be a little longer than that. But I think they're hoping it's not too much longer than that initial time frame right there. So we'll see how it goes. But it's definitely looking like at this point he's going to miss some time. And you'll kind of get a feel for it during roster cut downs, depending on who they end up leaving on PUP or whether or not they want to keep on the active roster. That can kind of give you a timeline of how fast they think these guys can get back. But I would definitely expect Chris Godwin to at least be on PUP to start the season at this point. So that'd be at least 4 games.
I'm also going to piggyback off the pup list. I will stay on Tristan Wirfs. What's his timeline? What's that looking like for him? I know he was on a cane, I believe, last week or 2 ago.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, do you think he's going to be back sooner than Chris Godwin, do you think, River?
I think that's kind of the interesting question. If you were to tell me now, I'd probably say it'd be like the PUP 4 games sort of thing. But we've seen him walking kind of with his crutches in his hand. He's getting better. They like his progress. So I think it'll be a surprise, but there's a possibility if they think that he could be back by, week 3 or week 4 instead of week 5, you might see him instead be on the active roster instead of on the PUP list. So that'll be pretty interesting. Tuesday at 4 p.m. is the cut down deadline after this third preseason game. You'll start seeing some moves happen on Sunday and Monday. Sunday will be the players that we know are going to get cut, some of the camp bodies that we've seen come in, and then it'll get a little bit harder on Monday and Tuesday. So what they do with Tristan Wirfs will obviously reveal kind of where they're at. But if they do think he can come back faster than that, then they'll probably keep him on the active roster instead of having him on PUP, and that would be the immediate tell as to what his timeline looks like.
Yeah, we're here with the great River Wells of Bucs Gameday SI here live on the Buccateers. If you're watching, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn that notification bell on. It's a Power Hour reporter roundup. River, since we're talking about potential guys missing, as Christopher Cole's talking about Cam Johnson and Palmer. Mm-hmm. We're talking about Godwin. Olivia's in the house. James Rubright. What's up, James? River, I want to ask you this. Going to shift focus here to another guy who's missed pretty much all the time in theory. Yeah. And he's in the news today and always. Desmond Watson. What say you on him? It seems like the Bucs want to have a long-term plan for him, but there's only a certain amount of things you can do to keep him around long-term.
Right.
J-Lo and I discussed that they might try and hide him somehow if that's a possibility. How do you see this shaking out with the big man?
Yeah, I asked Todd Bowles today what the plan with Desmond Watson.
So you were the one who asked. Yes. I love it. That was a great question.
He said that they do have perhaps a long-term plan involved, and what that might look like is that you could keep him on the reserve NFI list, which is non-football injury or non-football illness. That's where he is right now. If he's there to start the season, you could keep him there, have him continue to try and hit these weight goals the Bucs want him to hit. Now, we don't know what that goal is. They haven't been very public about where exactly they want him to get. But once he is activated off that list, he has 21 days to either be activated or get cut. So that gives them kind of an ultimatum at that point. He's very athletic, especially for his size. He ran a 4.93 at the NFL Combine, which for a 464-pound guy is kind of insane. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't cost that much necessarily to keep him around, right? They only guaranteed him $70,000. So it's very cheap to kind of keep him on that list. And as you put it, stow him away, I guess you could say. And then they can make a decision after he potentially comes back. If he's not making progress, there's no room on the defensive line. There's a lot of depth there that they could let him go. If they like where he's at, if he gets to that weight that they're looking for and they like his athletic potential, especially playing at a lower weight, they could then, bring him on. So it might take a little bit to see where he's at, and probably for the first few games of the season, we might see him kind of there. And then once they kind of activate him up the NFI list, if that is the route that they go, he would have that 21-day timeline to see if they like him. Now, they could also just cut him outright, but it doesn't sound like, from what Todd Bowles said, that they're going to do that. It sounds like they want to keep him. So that'll be interesting to see.
All right, so we've been talking about Watson for a while. I think every single one of these reporter roundups, he's been a topic of conversation. So for the folks listening at home, what's the attraction there for the Bucs to keep him around, he's not practicing. He hasn't really shown us anything in camp. His college stats aren't mind blowing.
Yeah.
He went undrafted for a reason, but obviously there's something there. So what's the attraction for the Bucs to keep him around this long?
I mentioned it just now, but he's an athletic freak. That combine, 40-yard dash you saw from a guy at that weight's crazy. Very strong, very nimble for his size. But right now, he's obviously very big, too big, and that prevents you from staying in and taking multiple reps at a time, and that involves your stamina and your physical fitness. So the idea being, you see it a lot of times with all sorts of positions in the NFL. You have a really high traits kind of guy, and once you have a high traits guy like Desmond Watson, if you can kind of bring him to his potential and get him down to a regular-ish playing weight, kind of closer to Vita Vea, and he's that athletic, the upsides are huge. So that's kind of what that is. And if the Bucs think they can get that out of him, that's fantastic. And if they can't, there's not really a huge sort of penalty or loss for doing so, because they didn't guarantee him that much money.
Thank you.
I will ask you this, River, on the linebacking core, because obviously we got two really good undrafted studs in Bullock and also oh my goodness,
Nick
fumbling the
Jackson.
name right now. Thank you, Nick Jackson. Do you think one of those two could possibly take a roster spot from Walker, who hasn't practiced, hasn't played, or anything? What are your thoughts on that?
I don't know if they take a roster spot from Anthony Walker. I think they like what Anthony Walker can do and what he can provide, especially that sort of coverage depth that they need behind Servastier Dennis. But Nick Jackson, I think, has impressed pretty much everyone who's watched him. This is a guy who's played 73 games in the NCAA. I think it's a NFL or it's a college record. He's played well. Todd Bowles calls him a football player, right? He comes in. He's got a lot of knowledge. He's got a lot of game sense, and when you're playing special teams and you're showing out in preseason, you're doing the right things in practice, you can forge your way onto the team. And this team's not afraid to put UDFAs on the roster. We've seen that time and time again. If Jason Light and Todd Bowles like them, they stay. So I think if anything, a guy like Jackson could potentially carve his role out there if he keeps having a good camp and good preseason, and he'll have some time to do some damage against the Buffalo Bills as well.
Yeah, that's a great point. Is we're bringing in the great Rock Riley here and exiting the great River Wells on the way out. But River, you make a great point with UDFAs, Todd Bowles, Bruce Arians. Those regimes have gotten the most out of him. I feel like 2 to 3 per season have almost made the active roster. So great point there. I think you're head on there. And the Bucs have a lot of good ones between offensive linemen, linebackers. It's going to be tough to, fill this, make the roster as a rookie because there's so many rookies fighting for the roster.
For sure.
So River, give us your last take on the Bucs and where they stand, my friend, and let people know where they can keep up with your great work, brother.
Sure thing. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see kind of who gets playing time during this last preseason game. If you're playing kind of after the first, second quarter, that tells you a lot about roster composition because they usually don't want players who are going to make their roster playing too much. It'll be interesting to see how they play the Bills, who they're going to play already in the regular season. So I don't think they're going to play a lot of starters, and I don't think they're going to reveal a lot. So that'll be probably a pretty slower paced game. But you can find me at Buccaneers on SI or Bucs Gameday. We got a YouTube channel, Bucs Gameday. Come check it out. We do podcasts, we do reactions, everything you could want as a Bucs fan. We've got you covered there. And then at my articles you can find on Buccaneers on SI and BucsGameday.com. Go read those and keep up with us as we're ready to start the season. It's finally here.
Yeah, great stuff, brother. You, JC, and the rest of the guys are doing some great work. We appreciate you giving us some time on the pod, my friend. We hope to talk to you back on the podcast soon and can't wait to keep up with your great work, my friend. Thanks for all you do.
Absolutely. Catch you guys later.
Yeah, have a great night, the great River Wells. Speaking of great, we got the legendary Rock Riley in the house. Rock, it's an honor to have you in, brother. How the hell you doing? Oh,
You're on mute, Rock.
Mute. We can't hear you.
We'll see if we could figure it out. That's how technology is these days. No worries there, Rock. But Zach, that was cool stuff, brother.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Still on mute again.
Now you show me on nine.
Let's see if we could get I'll try and see what's going on here. I can't even edit the mic settings on Roxanne, so we'll see what's going on. But J-Lo, how you doing, brother?
Good, man. Good. That was a fun preaching the game we witnessed the other night. Really good stuff. Fortunately, injury to McMullen, so Nets man up, man. Can't wait.
Yeah, trying to figure out. We do have Rock Riley, but we're trying to figure out the audio. You guys know how these things go. Sometimes it happens. Rock, could you hear us at all? You could hear us. Okay.
We just can't hear him.
Yeah, he's gonna jump out and come back in. Yeah, that'll work.
Smart. Yeah, that's smart, Rock. Jump out and come back in. We'll see if we can get Rock back here. But we are live on the Power Hour. Sorry for the technical difficulty. It happens. Zach, J-Lo, Tampa Tones here. We were just joined by the great River Wells. And as B-Shuck says, thanks for the donation, by the way, B-Shuck. Another $20 super chat from our guy. But he says many rookies. Yeah, appreciate you greatly, my friend. You don't even know. But we talk about this all the time, fellas. Limited amount of roster spots. A lot of rookies vying for these roster spots. It's going to be very hard for some of these rookies, even looking good out there, Zach, to try and crack the roster.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be hard to even crack the practice squad in some of these positions, but Unfortunately, the last couple of days, it seems like a few more spots might be obtainable. That's just the nature of the beast. Football is a violent sport, so injuries are, just the nature of the beast.
Jayla, what say you?
No, couldn't agree more. More opportunities have come up. I mean, the injuries going in. Now it's looking like Trey Palmer might be back in the midst. I mean, Garrett Green, you can't count that man out. That man has been playing some good football. It's another thing I'm very impressed with. He's been going out the ball now, Brian Miller. But some of these other undrafted rookies are making big impacts. I mean, we might just see another round of undrafted rookies making the roster just like the last couple seasons.
Yeah, that might be so. And for those awaiting, we do have Rock Riley, but we're figuring out his audio technical difficulties here. The Rock stops here. We'll be back soon. Bud Cannibal is saying Indiana, Joey Dime. So yeah, in case those don't know, Daniel Jones has been named the Colts starting quarterback, replacing Anthony Richardson for the time being. So we'll see how that goes. We might get Rock back here.
Quarterback.
You hear me, guys? Do you have
Hey,
we
Dan,
got
Rock.
you.
beautiful,
how are you,
beautiful,
brother?
beautiful? I'm doing fine, man. There we go. We're here. It's like we're down 10-0 in the first quarter, but you know what? The game is not over. So you got to be able to come back. And here we go.
Hey, we're playing comeback ball, Rock, and thanks for joining us again, my friend. You are a legend, so we appreciate some of your time, brother.
No, I heard so many good things about you guys. Everybody says good things about you guys. So I'm not so sure. You gotta have some detractors out there, but apparently you guys don't.
Well, that just means the check's cleared, Rock. That's all that means.
Yep.
All right. Well, I'm going to start us off here, and I'm going to go a little bit outside the box. I've been pounding the table for the last few years that the Bucs need a traditional second half song to kind of get the crowd into it, to get the team into it. So I'm going to ask you, because you've been around for a minute, why don't we have a traditional song? And if you could choose that song, what would it be?
That's a good one. I have no idea. I saw Brian Ford, the COO, today, and you know him. He's so pumped up. He was giving away 50 anniversary pins to everybody in the media room and this and that. So I will ask him, and I'll report back to you. What would be a good kick-ass song? I don't want to go way back. Don't Stop Believing. You don't want to do that. Gotta have something that would be kick-ass. I don't know. That's a good one. My mind is racing through. I was just on my Spotify playlist today, and I was just cranking out a lot of different tunes. I was all over the place. So I'll have to think about it. Do you guys have one?
I have too many. We were going to run a poll and do like a bracket and kind of like narrow it down, let the fans vote and stuff, but we haven't gotten to it. But yeah, there's just so many. I like the oh man, the immigration song. Hold on, that totally left me.
The man with the song playing can't even think of the damn song. What's going on here?
There you go. Google is your friend, right? Google. That helps.
Yeah, it's called the immigration songs. Led Zeppelin. I couldn't remember the artist.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if some young. Well, you know what? There are young people that do like Led Zeppelin.
Well, it was in Thor. It was in one of the Thor movies.
There you
there's your
go.
connection to the younger generation.
There you go. You got to do that.
No, awesome stuff. Awesome stuff. I don't know about music, Rob. I do want to get to the Bucs roster. Unfortunately, we have some injuries going on. And from what's been quiet now, to me, is crickets on Shiloh Sanders. Obviously, he didn't really have a great game against the Steelers. He kind of missed some tackles or not finished it, closing in on the tackle because I watched some of the highlights. Now that we lost J.J. Roberts for the season, we brought in Nick Brooks to replace him. What's Shiloh's chance of making the roster? Obviously, he's going to have to ball out Saturday night when his opportunity gets in the game. What do you think about Shiloh Sanders, Rob?
I always thought in the beginning he has a shot at the practice squad, even though it might be a long shot, and I still feel that way. The eye test, he looks pretty good. He's very small. He only plays that one position where some of the other guys can go nickel. They have a little bit more flexibility. Coaches look at that, but he's carried himself well. He looks kind of like that he belongs. A lot of the defensive players in the backfield are telling me he's very, very smart. But Rondé Barber put it best. He goes, look at his numbers. If he wasn't a Sanders name, we probably wouldn't even be talking about him. So if there's ever a shot, it's now with the injuries to the safeties. Now would be it. But I think just listening to Bowles and kind of getting the feel, at best, practice squad. And that's where I see his chance.
Yeah, I agree. And we are live with the great Rock Riley of the Rock Stops Here podcast, also a great member of WDAE, the WDAE team. You guys do a great job over there, live on Saturdays, and then also fills in. So good stuff, Rock.
Thank you.
You have a great sense of aura of this Buccaneers team. You're around all the guys a good amount. You do great interviews with some of the players, get to know them well. Obviously, it seems like they're really upbeat right now. You got Baker Mayfield being featured in Popeyes commercials. You got some of the most, as we just talked about, Shiloh Sanders brings a different element in terms of his social media aspect of these things. You just got a lot of limelight on this Buccaneers team right now, it seems. How are they handling it? It seems like they're a bit more in the media than usual. Do you get that sense in the locker room? Are they seeing the same thing?
Oh, man, you hit it on the head. Like Levante David, up until this year, very shy, very reserved. He's going on a ton of shows. General manager Jason Light, how many shows has he, or podcast and shows has he been on? Because look, he's feeling pretty good. It was always, the Buccaneers, man, they're after Brady. Come on, the NFC South sucks. But no, now they're getting their due. And that was the one thing that actually kind of concerned me. I hope that they'd still have that chip on their shoulder. Everybody's saying, they got the NFC South. The Falcons, you got a rookie quarterback. The Saints are terrible. Carolina's getting better, but they're not quite there yet. So everybody is saying they got the South. And you can't have that mentality. You can just walk on any field. It's the NFL, not for long. You can't even go by what teams did the year before. But at minicamp, at the OTAs, and at all of the practices and being around them, it's really good. The defense was the Achilles heel to me. And what I have seen in camp, and even with the 2s and the 3s, and you see it in these games, there's no more soft coverage. There's no more cushion. They're right up against these receivers. Good. Bowles said that. Now, he wants ball hawks. They've had 6 interceptions, 2 games. I know it's backups, but again, that mentality has been put in their head since day one, and you're starting to see that. So to me, defense honestly has won training camp, and it isn't like the offense doesn't look good. Baker Mayfield to Mike Evans is, I'm waiting, and it's like Father Time is nowhere near. He has not come knocking on Mike Evans' door. Baker just throws it up. They've got it down. Nobody can cover Baker Mayfield. McMillan was looking good. Bucky Irving, still sophomore slump. He's the first one in the building. He has this thing with the old 86-year-old coach, Tom Moore. So it isn't like he got a big head having his big rookie year. He's working real hard. And you watch him at the practices, like he missed, the first guy missed and the second guy missed. So I think you're going to have a running attack. The offensive line is good. I know Charlie Heck, okay, he's a backup. And we'll see. That could be something protecting his blind side. So all in all, up until maybe today, it had been really, really, really positive. You've had a couple of injuries, nothing big, but the McMillan thing. And then, safety, Christian Isian, he might not even be ready for the first game. And so a little bit of that is creeping up. But overall, the vibe and what they've shown has been really, really good to me, my watching and being there this preseason.
Yeah. So you mentioned McMillan there a second ago. It's a horrible injury. I was actually in Pittsburgh when it happened, and it looked worse on the field than it did on television replays to me. And I know they were going to try to take it easy with bringing Godwin back and not rush that a little bit. But now, do you think with the McMillan injury and that timeline being kind of week 9, do you think maybe that's going to cause Chris to come back maybe a little bit quicker than they were anticipating?
You would think that, but I don't think so. Jason Light told me, he goes, look, even when they got Ibuka, I'm like, Connor, did you do that? Because, it was this dislocated ankle. He's a little old. He's like, no. We really liked Ibuka. We had our numbers. He was there. He was going to be our pick, even though, they wanted an edge rusher defense. They went wide receiver. So he said that's not the case. He goes, look, Rock, we wouldn't have given him $66 million. With his age, we would not have signed him if we didn't think that he eventually will come back and be really, really good, not just for this year. So with that being said, I don't think that they rush him back any faster. Get him when you get him, especially have him rounding into shape in the postseason at the end of the season when you want him then. So I don't see that. I will tell you this, he's a ways away. Like, I haven't even seen him run. I haven't even seen him jog. Now, there's a chance that he might do that behind where we can't see, but a lot of times you'll see the guys running with the trainer, and I haven't even seen him run. So he is a ways away. Tristan Wirfs looks to me, the way he moves, even when they were playing Tennessee and they had one of those scrums and Cam Ward threw the football in there and it come on, he started to almost run to go in there. Like Tristan Wirfs, like, don't do that. Don't screw up your knee. But he's a really good athlete. He's young. He's thrown away like the crutches and the cane. So I think he will be ready fairly soon. Godwin, to me, it's going to be a ways.
No, excellent stuff, Rock. But I will say this as far as the injury goes, Rachaad White returned to practice, which was huge. I need you to tell the fan to watch the show how important Rachaad White really is to this offense. To me, he's a great pass blocker, receiving back. He looked great. He looked great before he got injured in week 1 of the preseason. I need you to tell the fans how important Rachaad White really is, because some fans are kind of turned during the offseason to trade him, get him out, because they're all sold on Bucky and Sean Tucker. But to me, Rachaad White is very important in this offense, and I need you to help explain to some of these fans that want to dump on Rachaad White.
He is so good out of the backfield as a receiver, because at one time he was a wide receiver. So he's good there. And he also, the coaches have told us, he is the best pass blocking back that they have. And it's 17 games. Bucky is a little guy. I mean, he gives 110%, but he's a little guy. And you need at least 2 running backs with a long season, and I expect them to be going pretty far in the playoffs. So, I know it's real easy. I saw it too in the offseason, like, I'll trade Rachaad White. We don't need him now. We can get this. No. Sean Tucker is good. You do have him. You see what's happening with these injuries. You need depth. You need depth. It's the same thing in baseball every year. The Rays, look at their starting rotation. Oh, my God. Trade one of those guys to get a power bat. And now at the end of the season, Shane McClanahan, he's done. You can count on one Rasmussen. Pepio's okay. Inconsistent here. And now that's like a weak point. It's the same thing with the wide receiver position. We thought the Bucs had so many wide receivers. Now it's actually thin. So that's another one. Don't rush Rachaad White back with the groin. Do you remember Muscle Hamster a couple of years ago? He had the groin. Then he was put back out on the practice field, and I'm watching him, and I'm like, he's looking good. And then he sat out for 2 days, and then they said he retweaked that groin. Because a running back, you can run, okay, but when you cut, when you're going full speed. So Rachaad White is very, very important. You win as a team. It's not just an individual player can't carry you to win a Super Bowl. As great as the GOAT was, it was the players around him. So Rachaad White, to me, very, very important, and I would not rush him.
Before we let you go, Rock, and bring in the great Adam Slivon of Pewter Report, I got one last question for you.
What's up, Rock?
That's all. I love the crosstalk. One time we got SR and Pat Donovan on here, and they went back and forth for like 20 minutes. It was classic. I think they broke news they weren't supposed to break, but what can you do? Rock, one word of the vibe of the Bucs. Obviously, John Spytek's out, new OC, Casey Rogers gone, and what great work do you got coming your way, brother? What can the people be expecting from the Rock Stops here?
Yeah, I honestly, again, now I hope that if the defense can play in this regular season like I've seen in camp and even in preseason games with the 2s and the 3s, I think it could be a very, very good season. I do have high expectations, but again, I have covered this league for so long. I remember Brad Johnson telling me you can't even go off what a team in the NFL did the week before. We've seen it. So I'm excited about the year. I really am. I think it's going to be a good year. And there's no jag-offs in the locker room. A lot of times there's going to be one or two, or guys, especially like wide receivers, they're divas. They care more about their numbers. I've seen that over the years. I honestly don't see that. So I'm hoping for a good year. You can follow me on my socials. That's the easiest way, at Real Rock Riley. And if anything that I have and posting and where I'm at, that's the easiest way. So I appreciate being on with you guys, though. Thank you.
Yeah, Rock.
Thank you, Rock.
Hopefully we get you back again, and next time for a little longer, brother. Would love to have you on for another episode. Sorry about the technical difficulties, and I look forward to hearing you in the very near future on WDAE, my friend. You're the best.
All right, thanks guys. Get him, Sly.
Oh yeah, nice to see you, Rock.
The legendary Rock Riley. That's right, everybody. Thanks again, Rock. Now from Rock to Sly. Sly, we're one away after you from completing the Pewter Report circuit, my friend. We just got Bailey Adams left to go. But how the hell you doing, brother? Yeah. I'm a big fan of your work. I remember you when you were, a couple of years back, just a newbie over there. Now you're an established vet, my friend. Glad to have you.
Well, I appreciate that. It's crazy to already be a vet. I feel like I walked in the door with Luke Gedeke and Rashad White, and I saw them as rookies, and now they're heading into contract years. And for me to be on the beat for a couple of years and getting to interact with you, I'm really appreciative of your time as well.
Yeah, well, you make sure you tell SR it's time to renegotiate your contract, right? You're going into a contract here to open up that checkbook for you a little bit. But I appreciate you. Yeah, I appreciate you being here. I've been waiting all day to ask you this question. So, at the game on Saturday, the big pass that Jamel Dean was quote unquote beaten on, and then later there was a drag. I think it was like a drag route to Wilson, where all four people in the secondary followed Scotty Miller out. But when you watch it back on TV, you don't really see where everybody's supposed to be or where everybody's coming from. To me, and I'm not a savant by any stretch of the imagination, but to me, it looked like the issue was more with the safeties than it was with the corners. Can you, maybe break that down for us a little bit and tell me if I'm wrong or not?
Yeah, kind of watching that play, like at first when you see Roman Wilson beat Jamel Dean, you're like, oh man, Jamel Dean got toasted. And to be fair, he didn't have a good drive. He later got called for a DPI that was a little bit controversial, and then he gave up the touchdown. But specifically looking at that deep ball, you kind of see Tyke Smith there. And as a safety, you're responsible for playing that deep coverage, a deep zone. And Jamel Dean did get beaten by a step, but also the safety has to do a little bit of cleanup duty too. So I want to pin it all on Jamel Dean. I know he becomes a little bit of a punching bag by Bucs fans where they're like, man, Jamel Dean needs to be casted away, put him on a little boat and send him to the Gulf. He's still a solid corner. And I feel like the hate at times gets to be a little bit unfair.
No, very good stuff, Sly. Thank you for coming on, brother. Good fan of yours as well. Good job what y'all did in Pittsburgh, by the way. You and Matt, y'all crushed it, covering the Bucs, over the practice field. But I do want to ask you to put this to rest because, Trey Hendrickson, banging listening to offers and all that. Fans are jumping all over it, saying, oh, trade for him, yeah.
Yep.
Can you please put an end to it? That's not going to happen. Light's not going to be a person who's going to draft hits, young players for, a player and pay him big money. Can we put an end to that, please? Help me out here.
Yeah, I completely agree. The whole philosophy that Jason Light goes about to build the team, it's through the draft. Unprecedented. Do you see the Bucs just retaining and developing homegrown talent? So he's not going to trade away 2 first-round picks to get Micah Parsons. No matter how good Micah Parsons is, or Trey Hendrickson, it might be a second-round pick. He's 30. Then you got to pay the guy. You got to pay him $30 million for probably 3-4 years. That's just not how the Bucs go about and do business. Now, I will say, with David Walker being out for the year with a torn ACL, that hurts, as beyond Reddick and Diaby, they don't have a lot of proven pass rushing depth. So I could see, you saw Matt Judon sign with the Dolphins for $6 million. maybe the Bucs kick the tires on a veteran pass rusher and maybe try to add a little more juice, but they're not giving up draft capital to do it.
Yeah, the great Sly joining us of Pewter Report live on the Buccateers. Hit that like button, subscribe, turn that notification bell on. This one's interesting to me. The tight end room, obviously, we have a top 4 tight ends. One of them, the blocking variety, Keefe. Then you got K. Dotton, kind of the tweener, along with Payne Durham. And then to me, Devin Culp has the best physique of the tight end room. I think he could be very physical. He gets open. He runs good routes. He catches the ball when throwing it to him. Small sample size, but you know, I like what we're getting so far. But what's your thought on the tight end room? How do you see it shaking out? Do all 4 of these guys stick around on the active roster come September?
I think based on like each tight end offering a little bit of a different taste, like, you know, as you mentioned, like K. Dotton, he's a jack of all trades guy. Payne Durham, man, he can block. And then Devin Culp, he's like that receiving threat. He had the most yards per reception last year. And Keefe, they kind of utilize him a little bit as a fullback. So I think just based on the value each provides, they're going to make the team. But I'm really interested to see, guys, like what the offense looks like the first couple weeks of the season, because you don't have J Mac, you don't have Chris Godwin. Like, are they going to run 12 personnel? Or are they just going to put 2 running backs out there, 2 tight ends, say we're going to keep running it until you stop it? So I think that even adds more value to the tight end room. But these are all young guys. Like, it was the youngest tight end room in the league, I think, a year ago, and they're still really young. A little bit unproven, but man, they got potential.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Otten's the oldest one in that room, right? And he's got yeah. So, you know, you guys were in Pittsburgh. You did the practices and the game, and we all know that the joint practices actually show us more than the game actually does because of, you know, the matchups. So, what did you take away from the practice that maybe the people that didn't get to see the practice, that only watched the game, saw?
I mean, it's very similar to what you kind of saw during the game. But one thing I will say, and kind of circle back a little bit to Jamel Dean, is that he had a solid week in practice, guys. Like, going up against DK Metcalf is not an easy task by any means. But the first play in one-on-ones, he got a pass breakup. The last play to end the joint practice, he leaped like 35 inches in the air to deflect the pass and kind of shut down Aaron Rodgers and company. So that's one thing that I took away from that. Otherwise, like a lot of what you saw, the secondary is for real. Like, they play tight coverage, not just in games, but in practices. Like, Jacob Parrish is a real deal. I wrote about him today. Like, just being a physical nickel back, even though he's like 5'10", 195 pounds, you wouldn't expect it, but he's really good. And just overall, I think there's a lot of positive takeaways when you look at the defense. I think they're going to be much improved this year. You kind of saw that throughout joint practice. Like, they're going up against a 4-time MVP, and they're hanging in there. They're going back and forth, toe to toe, blow for blow. So that'd be my biggest takeaway.
No, definitely. I couldn't agree more. I think this defense has been more physical and all that stuff. I do want to put it out there for Yaya Diaby. You know, now that we have Hassan Reddick in there to kind of help out the pass rush, do you see Yaya Diaby being a double-digit sack guy this year? 'Cause I know he has to finish. He gets there, he just doesn't finish, you know, before he gets rid of the ball. So what do you think? Yaya Diaby double-digit sack leader or what?
It's tough just because of all the talent around Yaya Diaby. It's not just Diaby. I think he has double-digit sack potential, but you also got to factor in Kalijah Cansey. I think Cansey's probably more of a double-digit sack guy than Diaby. And then you also have Vita Vea. Like, for a nose tackle, not too shabby getting after the quarterback. And then Hassan Reddick. So I think it's more going to be a case, guys, where you see like 4 guys maybe get 8 or 9 sacks, as opposed to one guy just like completely taking over.
I do agree with that, and I would take that. I think diversity in the pass rush game is a beautiful thing. It helps you know, spy blitz packages more. Who's going to be the main threat? Who do you double team? Causes more nightmare for the offensive game planning at night. Speaking of offensive game planning, Sly, how has this team responded to Grizz, 4th offensive coordinator in 4 years? What's your vibe in the locker room with the new OC in-house?
I think they really like Grizz, and he's relatable. It's kind of like when you brought in Baker Mayfield to replace Tom Brady. Like, not as good as Tom Brady, but very relatable, kind of the same age as the guys. You bring in Grizzard, who's 34 years old. Like, he just kind of clicks with everyone else, and players have spoken glowingly about him. And I think what's really nice about him is just how he caters to everybody's strengths. Like, I asked Kate Otten today, like, how do you like that the way Zach Grizzard uses you? And he just kind of speaks glowingly. Like, he caters to everybody. Like, he understands, I think, like, being a Yale graduate, he just understands the nuances of the game so well that, like, nobody's really going to be bickering and saying, man, why didn't I get the ball here? Why do you scheme me this way? And I will say, just kind of watching the offense through the first few weeks of camp, you're seeing them utilize like a lot of quick game, but they're also not afraid to hit you with a deep shot. So I think there's going to be a little bit more of a vertical element this year than maybe you saw last year with Liam Cohen.
Yeah, I was gonna mention that in practice. I noticed there was a section, I can't remember, it was before the 2-minute, but they had ran Sean Tucker twice consecutively on a screen pass, and I don't know that I had seen that before. But to go back what you said about practice, yeah, that's what I took away from it as well, is that the defense looked far more improved from last year. The offense is, if it maintains, there's that's a great thing, right? Because the offense was really good last year. What we have to improve on is the defense. And I saw Hassan Reddick in the 2-minute drop back, and it was on 3rd down and almost come away with a pick. And then the next play was Jamel that you mentioned that he knocked the play down. What is that going to be something that we see a lot? We noticed we had JPP dropping back. We got Vita that dropped back. Yaya. So are we to expect Hassan to be dropping back? Because I think that's what two practices was almost got an interception. I think it was one if it was Pittsburgh or before they left to come up here.
Yeah, he had that one against the Titans in joint practice where he picked off, I think it was Cam Ward at the time. But with Hassan, like, he started his career off as an inside linebacker. He ran a 4.51 going back to his days with the Cardinals. And he also teamed up with Larry Foote, who's a former inside linebacker in the NFL. And now he's coaching him up. So I think just based on his skill set and the way Todd Bowles likes to use outside linebackers, I mean, you didn't really want to see it last year with like Yaya Diaby, Anthony Nelson. Like, what are you doing dropping Nelson back on like a 3rd and 14? Like, it doesn't make a lot of sense here. But I think this year with Reddick, like, he has the ability to drop back. And you saw, like, he has success doing it too.
Yeah, before we let you go, Sly, again, we appreciate your time. These things are rapid fire. We're about to be joined by the great Aaron Jacobson of the Pat and Aaron Show, but we'd love to have you back on for, maybe a full episode in the near future. Yeah. We'll see if you got the time. If we don't have to pay you too much overtime, that would be great. But Sly, before we let you go, your last word on the Bucs locker room in general. What's the feeling like over there, and give us where the people could keep up with your great content, my friend.
Yeah, for sure. I think when you look at the Bucs this year, the vibe that I've kind of gotten is innovative, and not just that, but with the injuries to McMillan and just really in general, like, you're seeing a lot of guys go down. This is going to be a resilient bunch, and they have the talent across the board to really withstand, I think, early in the season, a lot of the big injuries that will come. And they're a strong squad that's going to be able to kind of teeter the waters and I think stay afloat in the NFC South to begin the year. And then you're really going to see them take off to end the year. And to answer your second question, you can find my content over on pewterreport.com and also on X. My little tags right here at Adam Lives On.
The great Sly of Pewter Report. We appreciate it greatly, brother. Can't wait to keep up with your great content, and good luck as the regular season approaches. I know you're going to be like an elf in the workshop out there, my friend, so keep grinding, brother.
Yeah, we'll do. Thank you guys so much.
The great Sly is out, and the great, I don't know, I'm going to refer to you as Lead Goon or Aaron. I'm in hot water now after the nickname verbiage earlier, so we won't mention it, but the great Aaron Jacobson of the Pat and Aaron Show joins us, and I'm excited for this one. Aaron, how the hell you doing, brother? Thanks for your time, my friend.
What's up, fellas? Thanks for having me on today. Yeah, you can call me Mini Goon, Frank, whatever you want to call me.
Well, the size, it's easier because we're in Chicago, so these people don't know the Tampa radio guys. Like, I know all you guys. They're like struggling over here, so to make it easy, we call Pat Big, you little, for the size difference.
All right, that's fair. Well, I thought this was a DAE only show today. You had Rock Riley on. Who you got? Casey Warner on after me.
Mathis actually is.
Oh, Mathis. You had Casey last week. That's right. You got Mathis today.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a WDAE couple of weeks. We'll put it like that.
We ready for the season, fellas? We ready? We got football.
Yes, we do, Aaron. Yes, we do. And thank you for coming on, my friend. Appreciate it. I do want to ask you about Mike Evans. You know, he's killing it at practice, just destroying his competition out there. You know, they say Father Time's undefeated, but I don't think Father Time is catching up to Mike Evans. What do you think, Aaron?
He's a different type of receiver, right? He's not a guy that relies on that speed. He's got the size, he's got the strength, he runs great routes, so he's got the ability to beat people up top, get to the high point. He's just a very talented first ballot Hall of Famer that he a lot of the receivers that you talk about that like Father Time catches up with them, it's because they don't have that elite speed anymore. They can't break away. Mike doesn't have to do that to be effective, and we're seeing that throughout training camp and practice. He is still Mike Evans. He's still playing at the top of his game, and there's a reason why we don't need to see him in preseason. Once Mike gets to the regular season, game 1, week 1, it doesn't matter. He's ready to go.
Yeah, absolutely agree. I'm going to keep it in the receiver realm here. So with the injury to McMillan and Godwin being on the shelf, Emeka has a chance to write his name into the record books for rookie receiving yards. So I'm going to first give you a little trivia. Do you know who is currently the rookie receiving yard wide receiver? And then secondly, does Emeka take that spot?
Was it Jamar Chase?
I mean, for the Bucs. For the Bucs.
For the Bucs.
Yeah.
I was like, overall, I was like, let me dig deep here. Yeah. Rookie receiving record for the Bucs would go to, don't say it was Jalen McMillan.
No, McMillan. I don't think McMillan had 500 yards. I think he was at like 4 something.
Was it Mike?
Mike is second.
Let me keep going. Is he can I play? Is he a current Buccaneer?
He is not a current Buccaneer.
He's not a current Buccaneer.
No, sir.
I don't like this guy. Mike Williams?
Oh, Mike Williams is third.
I don't like this game because I'm not getting right. Who is it? I quit.
Well, the top 3 guys all have the same first name.
3 Mikes. Oh, now you're gonna kill me because now I'm like, did he make?
I'll give you a hint. He used to be on your station with Tkras.
Oh, Michael Clayton.
Yes, sir.
All right, so that's what you got because I'm thinking of him as a Michael and not a Mike. You got me.
Yep.
I've worked with Mike. I've talked with. I've done shows with Michael Clayton.
Well, he finished that year with 1,193 yards. So what do you think Abuka's chances are with, I mean, I feel like he's going to get a lot of single coverage.
You've got a bunch of season. For a very deep position. He's now the wide receiver 2 for the foreseeable future. So until we get Godwin back, until McMillan's back, hopefully McMillan gets back. That was scary. He's a freak. He's a freak. Like in practice, seeing him in person, what they're saying about this kid, it is legit. Why not? Give me the over. We got optimism here. We're a couple weeks away from NFL football. Let's go over.
Love it. Buy Abuka stock.
We're gonna stick with the over-unders, a betting scheme, because I know you're a betting guy like myself, Aaron, and we are live with the great Aaron Jacobson, and you do the Hard Rock Parlay daily over there. But if you could lock in just one lock for the Bucs' upcoming season in terms of bets, what would you be looking at? Would it be a player's yardage, touchdown, Bucs over/under on the season and win total, or how would that go? I believe the over/under was 10.5, I want to say.
Oh, wow. Okay. I feel more confident betting if you want to take the Bucs, it's like even money to win the division. They're the best team in the division until somebody knocks them off. Bucky Irving receiving yards maybe because I think that's going to be a new part of the offense. Bucky Irving rushing yards I think is a solid play. And I'd have to look at some of them to see what I like, but I think that just go with the safe bet. If you think the Bucs are going to win the division, I think they're the best team in the division. So take the Bucs to win the division and play it out.
Love that.
No, that's really good stuff, Aaron. I do want to get back to the QB room. We haven't quite discussed that through the Power Hour. Obviously, Teddy Bridgewater had a great debut. He looked phenomenal throwing the football, putting the ball where it needed to be. and obviously fans are dumping on Trask. Do you see Bridgewater being QB number 2 now? Because that's what a lot of pods I've been watching saying Bridgewater is number 2, Trask is out. What do you think, Aaron?
I love Kyle Trask. I do. With that being said, a backup quarterback is not somebody you look at and go, who's the best quarterback on the planet? He's a backup quarterback. So what I want in a backup quarterback is a veteran who has played in the NFL before, who has seen regular season action, who knows what it takes, can command a huddle and be a leader in the locker room. Not saying that Trask is not that guy. But if Baker Mayfield were to go down, and we're talking about your quarterback's going down, you're most likely screwed anyway. But if Baker were to go down, who do I trust to come in, let's say, week 10? And if the Bucs are in control of this division, do you feel more confident in Kyle Trask coming in week 10 and keeping the ship afloat? Or do you feel more confident in Teddy Bridgewater doing that? I love Kyle Trask, but the obvious answer is Teddy Bridgewater. It's nothing against Kyle. It's Teddy's got the skills. He's been there before, and I just trust it more in a pinch. And that's what it would be. If Baker Mayfield goes down, it's a pinch.
Yeah, so let's explore that a little bit more. Just a sec here. So in the first preseason game, we got Trask that started with the ones. He got the starting offensive line. He got the starting wide receivers. And then in game 2, Bridgewater got the one treatment, and Kyle had to come in with the 2s. And then everybody is trying to compare those 2 games for Trask as apples to apples. But you really can't compare a first string offensive line to a second string offensive line. So can you just talk about the differences in those 2 situations and why you really shouldn't, try to mirror image them?
Sure, but it goes into the you can say as well, like, don't read too much into the preseason anyway. So you can look at Kyle Trask first start and go, well, it's the preseason. So how much can we really go, okay, well, Kyle Trask was really, really good. We've done that every single year. What I would be more impressed with Kyle Trask to show me that he could be a legitimate guy in this league is go out there with the offensive line that's not your ones. Don't hold on to the football forever. Show me things that you're going to be able to release football, get rid of the football, heady quarterback play. That is what I would look for in that position. So if anything, I'm looking more for Kyle Trask in that uncomfortable situation, which nothing in the NFL is comfortable unless you're Tom Brady. Everything was comfortable. But anything less than that, you're going to face some uncomfortable situations in regular season play if you ever get there. So I want to see you conquer the uncomfortable situations in the preseason. And in preseason game 2, he wasn't able to do that.
Yeah, sadly, Brady just, had uncomfortable situations in other ways during his preseason in 2022. But, that's neither near or there. And Cleveland says, love listening to WDAE in the morning. Aaron is one of the best voices in the game. Completely agree with Aaron on the QB. So there you go, Aaron. You sold Cleve and me out there. But speaking of sold, this Bucs team to me doesn't need a lot of selling. Rock Riley was saying the same sentiment. For once, the media is actually buzzing about it. I was wrong, by the way. It's 9.5 wins for the NFC South, not 10.5 wins for the Bucs, I should say. So there you go. That's a little more breathing room if you do take that over under. But I don't really see the Falcons as the biggest threat this year, Aaron. I see the Panthers, surprisingly, as a team to watch out for. I know you guys will, get your final predictions in on the radio show here probably before the regular season. But if you had a prediction at the NFC South standings, how would you see it shaking up top to bottom?
I agree with you that the Panthers are coming. I need to see more of it like we saw at the end of the season from them to go, all right, Bryce Young's figured this thing out. I saw the confidence. I mean, that was a really tough situation for him in Carolina last year, what he had to go through. And I think that second half of the season was very impressive from that young kid. A lot of other kids could, melt away from that. And he didn't. He took it on, and he was successful. You add a top receiver, much like the Bucs did in the draft, and I know we hate Liam Cohen, but I don't hate Dave Canales. I like Dave Canales, and I think he's gotten better as a coach, and I think this is going to be a big year for him to see what he can do. But I still think it's Atlanta to beat. I always have this thing. I don't trust lefty quarterbacks, but for some reason, maybe it's because I'm biased because Michael Penix Jr. is a Tampa kid, and I just love him. I love his attitude, and I loved him in college, but they've got weapons in Atlanta as well, and they made some moves on defense. So if those moves work out on defense, if Kyle Pitt, if some of these guys on offense are the weapons that they really were supposed to be, and I believe Drake London is a top receiver. Bijan, not Bijan, but Bijan Robinson is very good as well. So I think there's just more weapons on Atlanta, and therefore they're more dangerous right now. But I think Carolina's coming, and I don't even think we need to talk about the Saints. We can just leave them out of the conversation.
Fair.
You're exactly right on that one, Aaron. No one's talking about the Saints at this point. They're done, in my opinion. But I do want to get back to the defense. Mr. Tones over here, he made a prediction that Elijah Kancey, if healthy, could be defensive MVP of the league. What are your thoughts on a fully healthy Elijah Kancey? Because the last couple seasons he's missed a couple games because of the calf injury. I feel he could do a lot of wonders like Tones does. How about you? What do you think?
If he's oh my gosh, there he is. What's up, Chris Mathis? Yeah, he can't see. I think he's going to have a big year if he's healthy. He is an absolute freak of nature. And when you have Vita Vea next to you, when you're working off that, it's just a really hard matchup for an offensive line. So I think they work off each other. He stays healthy. He's primed to have a monster year. What's up, Mustachio?
Hey, what's going on, Aaron? Good to see you here, brother.
Good to see you. Long time no see.
Yeah, it's been a hot minute, man.
Yeah, probably since your guys' phone call the other day about the concert. That was awesome stuff, classic stuff. Never a dull moment with some good guys in the house here. But Chris, Mathis, how the hell you doing, brother?
I'm really good, man. I really appreciate the time and happy to hop on and catch Aaron Jacobson on as well here on this Tuesday evening.
Yeah, what are you taking up my time slot, Mathis? Come on,
I didn't.
You don't get enough airtime today.
I was just waiting backstage, and they pushed me through, bro. I didn't intend to do that.
I've got dinner I've got to make. It's totally fine.
I didn't know you made dinner.
Well, it comes from a packet that
Well, I have one more here. If you got time, Aaron.
Yeah, of course.
All right. So we've heard that Barton has played a little left tackle in training camp with Klein as center with the ones. What do you think would have to happen for us to actually see that in a game?
Pat and I talked about it on the show. A lot would have to happen. Like, you don't want to really screw with that. You want the young guys on that line that's going to be on that line for a long time to kind of stay put and be the guy. So hopefully when we talk about a couple weeks into the season, everything looks good and we're getting Tristan Wirfs back and the ship was afloat and the Buccaneers didn't, you're not going to, I don't think they're going to dominate that first part of the schedule, but as long as you can just kind of stay steady and get through that and get Tristan Wirfs back, they're going to be fine. But that would have to be a dire situation for what you just said.
Yeah, we'll see what happens, and hopefully, Wirfs is back, but not rushed back, but hopefully he's back sooner than later, right? We don't want to get the big guy hurt and gimping. Aaron, one last question for you before you get to your packet-made bonjour dinner over there, brother. I'm highly jealous, by the way. That sounds delicious.
Thank
but
you.
Overall prediction of the Bucs. What is the Bucs? We're going to copy Mathis and Tkras here. Fill in the blank. You see the Bucs season ending blank.
Record-wise?
Or just how do you see their fate? NFC Championship, Super Bowl, wild card, however the hell you want to answer. Anything you want to put in that blank, brother.
Serious contender.
There we go. I like that. I think they are a serious contender as well, my friend. I think you answered wisely. Well, brother, any last words for the show before you get to your night? We're not going to hold you up much longer. I know we held you up too long already, so thanks again for your time, brother. Any last words for the program?
Just one fill in the blank. That's all I get.
You could get more.
No,
J-Lo, give him a fill in the blank real quick.
Save him for Mathis. Save him for
Mathis. Actually, Mathis is,
All right. Here we go. Emeka Ibuka will finish his rookie season with blank receiving yards.
1,250. What was Michael Clayton's record again?
1193.
1,249.
All right, there you go.
$20 to each of you if you can get Mathis to shave his mustache by the end of the podcast.
Hey, well, I don't think that's going to happen because the man's been toying with the great mustache for a minute now. So we'll see what we can do, but no promises. But promising. Aaron, you're being requested as the Saints QB2, I guess. So there you go.
If people listen to the show, they know the best position in the history of sports, backup quarterback. And don't put me on the field. I don't want the starter to get hurt ever.
Yeah, we don't need any more mallet finger happening, and those days are far behind us. But the great Aaron Jacobson of the Pat and Aaron Show. Aaron, thanks so much for your time, brother. You're the best. I love listening to you guys in the morning. It's an hour earlier here, but I'm a 5 to 8 guy for you guys, and I'll continue to be listening daily, my friend. You make my mornings, and I appreciate you, my friend.
You're the man. You've been loyal, and I appreciate it, and appreciate you having me on. I'd love to come on again.
Yeah, no more nicknames for you. We'll just say Aaron and keep it easy, my friend. I don't want to get misplaced like this morning, although that was classic stuff. But, yeah, we'd love to have you back on for a little bit longer next time.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Have a good night.
Thanks again. The great Aaron Jacobson on his way out of the building of the Pat and Aaron Show. And now we got the great Chris Mathis. Chris, I'm excited for this. Big fan of yours as well, brother, the young phenom in the Tampa area. How's life, my man?
Man, it's phenomenal. Grateful that you guys have invited me aboard and happy to be here with you guys. And, I'm ready to talk Buccaneer football. You can feel it and smell it in the air right now here in Tampa Bay and across the nation, really. We're all amped up for the 2025 NFL season.
All right. So, surprise standout, surprise disappointment from training camp thus far in the preseason games. What do you got?
Okay. I mean, ultimately throughout training camp, yes, he had a good performance on Saturday against Pittsburgh, but again, disappointed in Chris Braswell as a whole throughout training camp, not just Saturday's preseason game, but when you think of training camp, last year when I flash back to his rookie year heading into camp, Chris Braswell, it felt like everybody had a chance to really stand out at some point, and Braswell just never even stood out at training camp, not once in my personal opinion. And I went out to almost every single date that I was able to attend, and he didn't really stand out then. Then the regular season, he played, 17 games, over 300 snaps, registered about 18 combined tackles, 1 forced fumble. The guy was not heard from whatsoever, a high draft pick out of Alabama. Then this year was hoping for a lot more from him. I don't put too much stock into the preseason. So, yes, he had a pretty decent game on Saturday in week 2 of the preseason, but ultimately, again, just a very quiet training camp from Chris Braswell, in my opinion, and one in which you're starting to feel Yaya Diaby's going to take that next leap this year. Of course, there's going to be pressure up front with Vita Vea, Kalijah Cansey, and then a guy in Hassan Reddick who just joined the club too. I thought I would see a little bit more urgency, a little more get up from Chris Braswell out of Alabama, and so far, just haven't seen it. Haven't been impressed there. As far as a standout, oh, man, that's a good one. Let's go with a guy by the name of Benjamin Morrison, a cornerback that I did have high hopes for. But then again, it feels like the Bucs have missed on corners in recent draft classes. We've saw a couple of good years from Carlton Davis. Jamel Dean had a good year, maybe 2. But ultimately, the Bucs as a whole, Vernon Hargrave's not very good. We all know how that went. It felt like the Bucs just haven't been able to draft that marquee pass rusher or draft that lockdown, shutdown corner. And some of that has to do with the zone defense that Todd Bowles will run and call for. But ultimately, coming into this year and to training camp, I had high hopes for Benjamin Morrison, and he's exceeded those expectations. And the guy is not a very big guy whatsoever. I've stood up right next to him. I might even be an inch, maybe an inch and a half taller than Benjamin Morrison. And that tells you a lot. And I'm roughly about 6 foot, but still to see that and think this is the guy they called upon to lock down these wide receivers across the NFL and be that guy alongside hopefully Jamel Dean and Zion McCollum this year. He's really exceeded my expectations, and I had high hopes for Benjamin Morrison.
No, I love it. We're all rooting for Benjamin Morrison. Can't wait to see him on the field. Absolutely. I will ask you this. With the injuries, of course, going on, as we all know, the start of the season is going to be pretty tough. What do you think with, what possibly worse coming bad? Do you think by the time we get to the bye week, the Bucs will have a winning record instead of being under 500 that we have been the past couple of seasons? Do you think we have over 500 start? Maybe, I haven't done the math quite yet, but I'm saying, do you think we'll be over 500 by the bye week? That's important, I feel.
Yeah. That's a great question. I mean, honestly, guys, even before the injury to Jalen McMillan, I kind of saw the Buccaneers as I don't see them beating the Atlanta Falcons week 1. It sounds crazy, but on the road, that kind of scares me. They should beat the Falcons, so I wouldn't be shocked, but I don't feel great about the Falcons game. Don't feel good about Monday Night Football at Houston with their luck in primetime games over the last couple of years. I believe it's 8 straight matchups. The Bucs have fallen short to the Houston Texans. They're going to beat the Jets week 3, so you're 1-2 in my opinion. Then you head into week 4. The Bucs have had their way with the Eagles. At some point, I feel like that's got to end. I hate to be negative, but I see the Bucs 1-3 through the first 4. They'll take care of Seattle. They'll take care of San Francisco. So then they're 3-4 heading into week 7 against the Lions. I think they can win that. They're even at 500 there. Then they beat the Saints. Yeah, I'll take the Bucs being a game above 500 at the bye week in week 9.
And that's the beauty of the NFL schedule. You just never know what the hell might happen. The games you expect to win, you don't. The games you don't expect. Like, look at the Broncos game last year, right? We all went into that game, oh, man, we're going to blow these guys away. This is going to be easy. And then we went into the Eagles game like, oh, wow, we'll probably lose, blah, 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 right? So I agree with you. I'm not going to argue with you. You know, I might see those games playing out different, but I could see the schedule shaken out as such. And we are live with the great Chris Mathis, who's had an incredible journey from calling Tom Brady in interviews, or not in interviews, but press conferences. That was awesome. And now host of the Chris and Casey show, the executive producer of The Drive.
I will say, I didn't know the Brady thing was a big deal, honestly. When I did it, I had no idea. And even to this day, I don't see how it was, but it somehow stuck out to be that way.
Yeah, I don't really see how it, but, you know, maybe it's just his persona. You know, how did you find out that might have not been the right way to go with Tom Brady? Did somebody tell you or something, hey, you know, that was awesome, or how'd that play out?
Well, I'll be completely upfront about it all. When I asked the question, it was a question which I asked him about throwing 100,000 career passing yards. They had won the game. There was 7 or 8 other questions before that. Brady was the first quarterback to eclipse 100,000 career passing yards. So I thought, man, somebody's got to ask this. Fortunately, it was me, and that's when I hit him with Brady. And I didn't think anything of it. The next day I wake up, my Twitter had blown up that Brady brand had included it in their promo video. My question, his video of him, you know, showing off the fit. And then Rock Riley was the first one to bring it up. He's like, Brady. And I'm like, wait, what? He said, yeah, that's not very typical. That's not very common. So in all actuality, in the moment, I didn't think anything of it. I didn't mean anything by it by any means. And then even the next day, and to this day, I don't really get why it was a big deal. But you know what? If it helped him help it stand out, and if it is something that's remembered, I'll take it, because that time with me asking Tom Brady questions was phenomenal, but it was very short-lived, dude. It went by like that, you know? So it was a good time.
Zach?
Yeah. No, sorry, I didn't know if that was your question or not.
No, you're good, brother.
Oh, yeah, if you had a question, by the way, you can fire that away, by the way.
I'll circle it back. I got a good one, but I'll circle it back.
Okay. I'm also trying to digest that 1-3 start and trying to envision what Bucs Twitter would look like on a 1-3 start, man. They would be running Todd Bowles out on the rails, man.
Yeah, poor Bowles. Poor Bowles.
He catches so many strays, man. So this wide receiver room was going to be tough to make when camp first opened. With a little bit of position flexibility now because of some of the injuries. Give me your receivers that make the 53 and then who stick to the practice squad.
Oh, wow. Yeah, really great question there. As far as who I think will make the 53, man, the guy who's on the fence for me was Trey Palmer, but now I think he makes the 53. I think he has to. So you're going to rock with Mike Evans, Emeka Buka, Tez Johnson, of course, will make it. Trey Palmer, Sterling Shepard will make it. There's 5 receivers right there. I feel like either Raheem Jarrett or Ryan Miller is going to be a for sure keep. I just don't know as far as which of those two. I want to say maybe even Miller's done the most, in my opinion. I like Miller so far throughout camp and preseason. I think those are the guys that are going to be in the mix. I think Dennis Houston, I think he's probably out. I think Cameron Johnson, he's probably going to be out of the mix. That's my guesstimation because, again, heading into the year, I was one that it was either going to be Sterling Shepard or Trey Palmer gets put on the practice squad. And now it feels like Shepard is going to make it, and Trey Palmer will make it too. So that's my guesstimation there as far as the receiver group.
Yeah, I mean, no, it's tough take, man. It's tough taking with the receivers. I mean, they're pretty talented from the get-go for the most part. But I will jump over to the running back, Bucky Irving. The dude just gets better and better. That was an incredible catch he pulled in the preseason game. Do you see him finishing? I'm going to go a little high on this one. Top 3 in rushing yards this season. Top 3. I know.
He's got the talent. Like, it's not, does he have the talent? But now with Tristan Wirfs out, I mean, for sure week 1, maybe even a couple of weeks after, I think the Bucs are not only going to have to play it a little bit more smart as far as putting Rachaad White back there to block and add that little bit of piece there and security blanket to Baker's left side. I think you're probably going to see more of a split the first couple of games while Wirfs is out. So that's going to take away from Bucky. And now you think about it with McMillan being out, they're saying till about week 9 or maybe even a little bit after that with the bye week in week 9. Yeah, you're going to lose some receiver talent. Top 3, I don't know. I could see top 5, though. I could see top 5 for Bucky Irving in year 2. And his line coming into this year was 1,025.5 rushing yards. That's it. That was his line according to Bet Online AG. He's going to overshoot that. I just don't know if he's going to finish top 3.
Yeah, we are live for a couple more minutes with the great Chris Mathis, as he's a busy guy. Our guy's engaged. Congrats, by the way, again on that. That's awesome.
Thank you very much, man. I appreciate it, guys.
Yeah, I'm living that same life, brother. You got to, it's awesome. It's a good time. It is when you're with your best friend. Great things happen.
Yeah.
Yep. Nothing but the best to you and Lily, and your life keeps going, brother. Tkras. I just want to ask a quick Tkras question.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
What Tampa team riles him up the most? Would you say the Rays, Lightning, or Bucs? If one really pisses him off, say the Rays go on an epic losing streak, or the Lightning do something dumb, or the Bucs blow a game at home, what one would? I know he has a post-game show with the Bucs, so maybe that one, but you're his right-hand man these days. What say you?
Great questions, and the guy is extremely talented. I mean, I don't know how he does. I see it every day. I don't know how he does what he does like he does. It's
me and my fiance and my pops a couple of years ago. It was when the Bucs played the Eagles on Monday Night Football, and he was on doing his show, and then he went on to do the pregame show. And then he was on to do the post-game show. My dad and fiance were like, holy, does this guy sleep at all? Like, it's awesome, man.
Dude,
it's crazy.
Yeah, no, and that's the thing. Like, with the football season, of course, we absolutely love football. But when it's a weekday, like a Monday or Thursday night, and you're doing a 3-4 hour show, you get to work at 10, 11 o'clock, whatever it is that morning, and then you're there until sometimes even after midnight, talking constantly. And it's not like he's going to go have a real deal food break. Like, he's going, he has a commercial break, run to the restroom, whatever, brings his lunch. There's a lot to it. I mean, and I know I imagine one day I'm going to get to that point. That's what I'm working hard towards, and however many years that'll be, I'll work and worry about that when that time comes. But even I think, like, man, how does he do it quite like that? I still don't know the answer to that, to be honest. But as far as his ability to go off on a crazy rant, that's the thing. He can do it with all 3 of those. The Lightning, of course, the Rays, the Bucs, the guy, it's unreal. It really is. But I think the one that would get him the most riled up, like if I got to go with the Bucs, man. I got to go with the Bucs because I truly think that football is his favorite sport. He can do it in all 3 again, but football is his favorite sport. He has a little bit more to the football piece of it. Lives, eats, breathes football. So if the team that he covers and talks with these guys and reports with and tries to give the best coverage for all of us here in Tampa and wherever you guys are across the nation or the world, I think the Buccaneers can really rile him up the most and get him going the most because he's most passionate about football. And, he has a keen ear for everything. We'll be listening to a press conference and I'm kind of picking some things out and he hears something and he's like, you know what that tells you? And I'll ask him, what do you think? And he's like, I'll save it for the show. And then he tells me the show. I'm like, wow, I don't know how he does it. But yeah, I'll go football by a hair. Then I would go with the Rays simply because I think with there being so much attention on the Rays and whether it's love or hate for the Rays, I feel like the fan base is this is no shot to the Rays fan base, but it kind of feels a little wishy-washy at times. Whereas I feel like the Bucs have their fan base, and win, lose, draw, whatever, full steam ahead. But with the Rays, it kind of seems a little wishy-washy at times. Not everybody. I don't want to, get that out there, but some people. So I think the Rays would come in second for the next best rant, and then the Bolts follow just a hair behind the Rays for Tkras.
All right, so I got one more here for you to circle back to your biggest disappointment of camp thus far, with Braswell not maybe hitting those expectations that a second round draft pick has on him at this point. Do the Bucs bring in an experienced pass rusher? And if so, who could you see them possibly bringing in that's available?
Yeah, I mean, we all would love to see Trey Hendrickson land here. Michael Parsons would be another one. It's just unrealistic. I think that the Bucs need to stick with Braswell. It's too early, just like they've done with Kyle Trask. They've held on to him, and I'm not saying that was the wrong decision, but it feels like the Bucs recognize that he's not ever going to be a week one intentional starter unless there was an injury by any means. They know what they have, or they think they know what they have with Kyle Trask. I think it'll be the same thing with Chris Braswell until he can prove otherwise, until he can prove that he deserves to be one of the marquee pass rushers in this defense. Micah Parsons, a one-year prove-it deal. Let's say Micah Parsons doesn't really live up to the bid here in the expectations in Tampa year one with the Bucs. Maybe it's called on for a guy in Chris Braswell to take that next step. Hey, you know what? We're not going to go sign anybody next offseason. You're going to be that guy. We need you to step up. Then if he doesn't answer in year three, then I think it's time to really look and find another replacement for Braswell. But not yet. It's still too early for that. In my personal opinion, I still believe that there is something there with Chris Braswell. I don't think it's a total miss, and I really just don't think we've seen enough playing time from him on the field for the Bucs to say, all right, it's time to bring in a replacement for Chris Braswell.
From one Chris to another, Braswell to Mathis. I still remember when Mathis walked through the doors for the Pat and Aaron show as the executive producer. It was a great day for us listeners, and really the start of something where the best is yet to come. You keep building your nest over there, co-host of the Chris and Casey show, executive producer of The Drive, obviously. You got your own podcast, so you're continuing to do big things. I'm sure during football season, you're even going to have a crazier schedule, whatever the hell that might be. You never know what's in store for you there. Well, we'll save it. I know you and Casey are on the up and up, so that's going to be a lot of fun to watch, brother. But I know you got to run before I get you in trouble and before I got to pay your overtime bills.
No,
give us your last thoughts, and I hope you're having a little better than Aaron's packet for dinner, my friend.
Yeah, I think, let's see, what am well, you know what? I am going to rock with a little grilled chicken kebab. I'm doing that for sure. That's a lock. I'll also lock in a protein bar. That's a classic for me. Maybe a protein chocolate shake, and then I'll cap it off with I'm probably going to do some kind of chicken and pasta. That's what I'll probably rock with tonight.
Wow.
So, I'm not going to lie and say I'm making this pasta from scratch. Nothing like that. No. But I'm going to pull an Aaron Jacobson.
Hey, a little bit better than the packet, my friend. But any last words, brother? It's been an honor having you. I hope you have a great Tuesday, and I hope next time we could do it a little longer, my friend.
Absolutely, man. Thank you guys for the opportunity. Thanks for allowing me to hop aboard. Great questions as well. And let's go Buccaneers. Let's have a great season and keep crushing it with your guys' coverage as well. All right, guys?
Yeah, appreciate thanks. That. Chris, that means a lot. We'll keep up with you on the drive and on weekends at Chris and Casey, and nothing but the best to you and Lily, my friend.
Thank you, my man. You guys have a great evening. Bye-bye.
You too, brother. The great Chris.
Let's get
fire the damn cannon. You're getting good at that, man.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, that's pretty damn close.
You're better than Tkras now.
We move left to right on the Buccateer Radio Network. Oh, man. Chris Godwin. Oh, no, it's Delvin. Man, oh, it's Mega Booga. Fire him.
I would have thought we had Gene right there, my friend.
See you guys. Have a great night. He was my idol. Gene Deckerhoff's my idol since I was like 11 years old.
Yeah, and I see you've been able to learn from him over the past couple of years. You've been interacting, so great.
Been very fortunate there. I don't take that for granted as well. So you guys have a great night. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, you too, Chris. The great Chris Mathis, man. Just great stuff. The co-host of the Chris and Casey show, the executive producer of The Drive. with Tkras. I thought we had Gene Deckeroff in here for a minute. I had to look around and make
Yeah,
sure
should turn his camera off. We could have sold that,
Impressive.
right?
He's getting better than Tkras at that. That's a good competition. They're gonna have to have a Gene off. But J-Lo, any final words? That was an awesome pod. I mean, all of these are great, but really all five guys brought the noise, brought the heat, brought the excitement tonight.
No, absolutely. I mean, these are OG reporters, man. Some of these younger ones coming up. I mean, just entertaining. It's just great to pick your
Tonight, that's a good
brain.
point too, J-Lo. Rock, he's youthful as well, but this was a youth movement, I call it. You had Aaron Jacobson, Chris Mathis, River Wells, Sly, a group of young OGs.
Absolutely. You know, as far as Rock goes, when he mentioned Gene Deckeroff was his idol as a kid, Rock was one of my favorite guys to watch when I was a kid at 11, 12 years old. The Rock Riley Show. I mean, he had call-ins. I'd be one of those kids calling in, trying to pick his brain. So it's always good to have an OG with the youth movement, like you just said. I mean, just a great group of guys. Overall, the power has been so much fun. And plus, we get educated. We learn something new every day, I feel like, whenever we talk with all these OGs.
Yeah, and we've had 4 of these shows. Tonight was our first 5-person show, but we've had 17 different Bucs personalities on all the power hours. So if you want a true top to bottom, true different inputs of Buccaneer football, listen to this as a series. You'll get 4 or 5 hours. Well, Scott Reynolds extended that. You'll get 5 hours straight of different opinions, different reporters, different podcasters, different radio personalities, former college athletes. So it's really something that's a treat and really been a blessing. And Zach and J-Lo, I thank you guys greatly for helping put it together. Zach, final thoughts for the program?
Oh man, 1 week closer. 1 week closer. Make sure that everybody listening is subscribed. We got a lot of cool content coming. You don't want to miss it, and we're excited to get through this Buck seasons with everybody.
Excited, and we're going to hopefully do this one Tuesday a month during the season, a reporter roundup power hour, where one Tuesday a month we could really go over the quarter, each quarter of the season. Hey, break it down. What did we see in this quarter? What can we expect next quarter? It's worked well so far. We had a preseason power hour. We had a roundtable for the camps. We had an off-season one. So let's keep it going in the regular season. And as we said, it's going to be incredible here on the Buccateers. We're going to have mini shows, college football shows, NFL programs, man cave enthusiast-led shows, Tampa sports history shows monthly. Just going to be great stuff here on the Buccateers. And oh, by the way, our normal Saturday showdown pregame weekend of football kickoff show and our Tune Me Up Tuesdays, which bricks me up as well, as the great Baker Mayfield would say. Joey Texton, big WDAE fan. When they come on, I get more amped. So awesome stuff there. Just awesome stuff there. We appreciate from Pops listening to Joey listening. The lady listeners brought the heat tonight. Trisha and Olive, Christopher, Bud Cannibalist. We had the great Nick James on Facebook. Grizz in the house. Abraham in the house. Zach, I will say, your Mike versus Michael, that was a little bit tricky terminology, my friend. I love it, though.
Yeah, I didn't think of it that way when I asked it, but
no, see, to us it doesn't matter, but I guess when that's a coworker or something, and you're so used to identifying that'd be like, for instance, if you refer to me as whatever Tones, if someone goes to you, hey, what ant set the record? You'd be like, what the hell, ant? What? There's an ant?
Right.
But that was a great question, brother.
Thank you. It's weird that Michael Clayton is the only one that actually goes by his full government name. The others all go by Mike.
And I'd truly be interested. I hope he's doing well. I know he has his own roofing business, but that's neither near or there. But yeah, that is interesting how Michael's the only one that goes by Michael. But a lot of Michael greats for the Bucs, and a lot of greats tonight. Adam, Sly, Slivon from Pewter Report, Rock Riley brought the heat, River Wells from Sports Illustrated, and then the WDAE crew, although Rock's a part of that as well, the great Aaron Jacobson and Chris Mathis, and of course, the great J-Lo, Zach, Bucs by 30, and Tampa Tones here, and the guys who couldn't make it tonight watching from the bleachers, Joey, A-Cats, and the rest of the gang. It's the Buccateers. It's been a great power hour. One last shout out to the great Rock Riley, to the great Sly, to the great River, to the great Chris, and to the great Aaron. We Appreciate it greatly. We'll be back tomorrow. Yes, we will be back tomorrow. Going to be a crazy one. Not sure what time yet. Probably a little bit later. I'm going to Miami. I am not prepared. I got a lot to do. So we'll see what the hell's going to happen. But we'll be back tomorrow. Until then, fire the damn cannons. I can't do it as good as Mathis could, but that's my attempt. Zach,
fire the damn cannon.
Well, oh boy, we're just gonna end.
Yeah, I tried.
Yeah, just get it.
Fail.
Enjoy your
Yeah.
Tuesday,
Take care, guys.
Bro, we'll put it like that.
Nice.
What's it like? I was actually there in attendance in Cleveland for Coe's first career NFL touchdown, which was awesome. And,
Awesome.
it was a great game. You could hear me on camera. I was just screaming, "Say it ain't so, Coe! Say it ain't so!" Sadly, from there, the game kind of went off the rails a little. That was the last high moment of that game, but it was a great game. Overtime loss, fun time.
Yeah.
But how was that moment for you? Seeing the first, whether it was on TV, in person, wherever you were, seeing his first NFL touchdown. How was that?
Well, dude, I mean, we were at home because it was a away game. We don't travel to a lot of the away games because we can get into that later. But to watch that and to think I wished I was there live. So to have your video was so cool. And just that, hey, this is so cool. I mean, that was so cool for us. Catching it from Tom Brady, right? Like he's got the ball yet. I mean, first NFL touchdown means a lot, right? I mean, as a dad, that's so cool to see. And it's just, it was fun to watch. And, yeah, it didn't have the outcome we wanted, but still the same. What a memory! What a memory to have, right? So,
and honestly,
cool.
those. One of the best guests ever, the Buccateers in the house. You guys hear him on Tampa radio all the time. He's one of the best in the business. My favorite personal in the business. That's why I'm elated tonight. Growing up in the Chicago area, you're used to sports radio. That's what gets me through the day. So this man does help get me through the day, I will say, with the Pat and Aaron show at work. Nothing like it. So it's incredible. It looks like we got Stunna bumbling in. I'm Tampa Tones. We are joined by lead goon tonight, host of the Pat and Aaron show of WDAE, Pat Donovan. And it sounds like Stunna is bumbling a little bit. Going to put him on mute for a second until that gets a little clear. But we're joined by Pat
It looks like
Donovan.
Stunna's hanging out with Cheech and Chong in a car with the windows up or something over there.
It does look like you got a little.
No, my camera's broke.
And he was trying to pull me in big time. And then I was like, nothing's happened with Indianapolis yet. Like, I really want to give Indy a chance. And then also I talked to Cody Gruden, once he took over Rich McCann, I'm still like, but look, I was like, y'all just give me the opportunity to explore free agency, see what's going on, and then kind of make us do it.
All right, everyone, you are tuned into the Buccateers, a wide receiver, Kalen Geiger, and we are about to have a great pod. This is